Hi everybody, this is Dr. Jenine. I'm glad to have you with me, and I'm being just really casual today, just kind of sitting on the floor. I just finished my meditation and I thought that this would be a good time to do my video. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this particular video or this message, but I needed to meditate through it first and decided that yes, that this message is meant to be passed on. Let me give you just a little bit of background before I go into what the message is about. I have a daughter who transitioned, who passed away on August 12th, 2021. Some of you know that about me and some don't. So, now you know. It hasn't been exactly a year, and yes, we miss her like breath. It's really, really hard and difficult to have a child leave this world or leave her body. And so, like any mother would do, I seek her out because I want to know that she's okay. I want to know that, if there's anything that she needs to tell me, whatever. I like to meditate on her, and sometimes I get to dream about her. And that's what this message is about. It's about one of the dreams that I had last night and the message that came through. My daughter did show up in the dream, and I want to just describe the dream to you so you understand what she was like. And just so you know, I was very conscious in the dream. It wasn't like I was dreaming and then I woke up and I thought to myself, oh, I just had a dream. I knew I was in the dream. I knew that something conscious was happening. And so even though I was in a dream state, I believe that spiritually, I was either out of my body or something was coming through subconsciously or through my higher self into, my being. So I understand it. So anyway, my daughter showed up in my dream and she was just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful light. In fact, her aura was completely white light and I could see her within her aura. And she looked beautiful, like she just vibrated. It was like the light just flashed out from her, but I can definitely see her face. I felt her. You can feel a person's energy. You could feel their personality. And I could feel her personality. As her mom, I knew what kind of personality she had. And so that definitely was present. And so I definitely knew that this was her. So what she had shown me was a keyboard with the backspace button, and she was pressing on the button with her finger, and her finger was illuminated and in all these different beautiful colors, and they were the colors of the chakra system, the energy centers of our body. And it just looked bigger than it normally is. So it was like, here's my finger and all this light was around the finger, which I just looked at that and I thought, wow, that's just so incredible. I just loved it. But when we use the backspace button, it's usually because we've written a sentence, we've written a word, we've written a paragraph or something that we just want to backspace and delete, right? Or just backspace to, to place our cursor somewhere on the computer. But most of the time, we're backspacing to delete. And that's what she was showing me. She was showing me a line of verbiage. I don't know what it was, but pushing with her finger on the backspace and the cursor was going back and erasing what was there. Now, normally when we do that, it's because we don't want to say, or maybe something was messed up in the line that we were going to present in our writing, and we didn't want it to be that way. So we were able to backspace and redo it. So the words that came through from her to me, it was interesting the way that it came through, because it wasn't just like she was speaking with her voice. It was like, it almost felt like her voice was all through the room, and not loud, but just very, very energetically clear. And I have to say that this makes me feel really good, because I do seek out, things that happen after people leave their bodies. I used to take care of seniors who were older and, had terminal illnesses and ready to transition. And so I've been there at the bedside of those who were transitioning, and it's really interesting. Excuse me, I'm getting comfortable here. I have to change legs. So, there's an interest there for me to really tap into where we go and what we do and what the other side is like. And I think that that's normal. I think we all go through that. We all wonder that, really, So when I get something like this, it just fascinates the heck out of me. But what is really, really even more profound is the message that she told me. And I took this very personal. This was personal between my daughter and I. And she said, be careful what you do. Be careful in your decisions, because life doesn't have a backspace button. A lot of times things come out of a mouth, or out of a person's mouth, and she's speaking to me, or we do something, and if it's not well thought out, we can't redo it. We can't undo it. So that's the message that I was meditating on. I really wanted to know if this was something that my daughter would want me to present to other people. So I really feel deep in my heart and my spirit that she really wants other people to know, especially her family, is that when you're making a decision, when you're going to do something, don't do it out of emotion. Don't do it out of sometimes we like to be spontaneous. Sometimes that's wonderful. But in other situations, it's not quite as wonderful. Some things need to be really thought out. And that's what this message is about. Think things through before you say things out of your mouth. Maybe this could be during an argument. Maybe this could be during any kind of conversation with someone that's going to affect your life, that's going to affect their life. Before you do something, before you create an action, or speak something, think, pause. Really practice the meditative pause. This is so important because it gives you an opportunity to step back and take a look at the line that you've written in your book of life and see if that's something that you really want to present. Is this a decision you want to make? That's what I did when I was making this video, or before I did that. I meditated and I thought, and I started to, go into my space, ask the question of God, of my higher self, of all of my angelic support. Is this a decision that I should make? Should I make this video? And sometimes the decisions or the words or the things that we are going to make are much more critical than just making a video. So that's when this information becomes more important. Be very careful. Once something comes out of your mouth, you can apologize for it, but you can't take it back. You can't erase it. And remember that if you're speaking to somebody, you're speaking to their heart as well as their mind and to their soul. And do you really want to be a soul scar to someone else? That's the huge question. Do we want to make soul scars in each other by maybe verbiage that comes out of emotion, or maybe an action that comes out of a feeling of fear? Sometimes we do something just out of fear, or a lot of emotion, and those are hurts and wounds that we haven't processed, and maybe we need to step back before we take that leap and do whatever it is that we think that we should do or are going to do. But I found this very profound. The more I thought about it, I thought, when I look back into my life, I do have some things that I regret doing, and I think that we all have that. And I wish that I would have taken a meditative pause, that I would have just taken maybe 2 more breaths before I made a decision, or if I would have just taken 2 more breaths and decided to do something and I didn't do it. And that's another thing, sometimes we don't do something and we really should. And there are things that I really wish that I had done. And I stepped back out of fear. I know that, because of things that I've gone through, trauma and things like that, there are often times when I'll do something just very spontaneous and I'll think, darn it, I wish I would have done that. And it's done because of fear usually, or a wound, and we all do this. And that's why I'm being very transparent here. We all do this. And so that's why also this message is so important. In order to take that meditative pause, you have to practice. And I think I said this in another video, practice means practice. And you'll see Bunny in the background and my cat. Hello, Bunny. But practice really does mean practice. It means take the time to really center yourself and get into the habit, because practice creates a habit of taking that meditative pause. I know a lot of times I'll act out of emotion because of some of the things that have happened with me. And I've come to recognize what that is and when that happens. Sometimes right now in my life, it's grief. So, I kind of give myself a little bit of grace, as far as that is concerned. But when I'm making a decision and before I speak, the meditative pause is very, very important to me, because it's something that I want to practice so much that I know that if I do, it's going to keep me from making decisions that maybe I'll regret later, that I cannot erase, or saying things that I cannot erase. I've seen, times when I knew things and I've presented those things to maybe other people and they didn't act on the advice, and then it comes back. And I have to take the meditative pause, because it's really hard not to get offended when people do things to us that are not quite in alignment with our boundaries and not quite in alignment with our, maybe our sense of morality, let me just say that, or maybe our sense of ethics, we want to make sure that we're in alignment in our relationships, and especially in alignment with our relationship with ourselves and with God within, and of course the support that we have. So, this is real important. What I'd like you to do, if you would, just take some time, meditate, think, write this out, journal it, whatever you need to do, but consider a meditative pause. Consider before that thing comes out of your mouth in kind of the heat of the moment, stop, because a soul scar could be created, and you cannot take the backspace button and erase that sentence. And you can't take the backspace button and erase what maybe you have done that, crosses boundaries for someone, and then it hurts and causes a problem with a relationship. And that's why we're here. We are about relationships, aren't we? And whether, it's a business relationship, whether it is a personal one, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, or, whatever kind of relationship, we are about interacting with each other. So we need to learn how and to understand. Now, I don't want this to be a place of fear, but we need to understand and keep this within us. Before you act, consider. Really consider. Meditate, ask for guidance, and really consider, especially if it's a situation where you have to make a decision and you don't know how it's going to turn out. And sometimes you have to walk through it and get the burn. And then you learn, right? Get the burn and learn. And that's the hard way. But I'd like to tell you this so it can teach you an easier way. And I really thank my beautiful daughter for coming to me at that moment in spirit. I really appreciate it. I have to tell you, it is extremely emotional for me. This took me all morning and afternoon to be able to think, meditate, and consider before I put this information out. And we decided, I really feel like in my heart, she wanted this to go forward, not just for me, but for my family, for people who are loved ones and around us. So I think and consider all of you my loved ones. And we're supposed to look like that. We're supposed to think like that. We are consciously creating this world together. So let's consciously consider before we act, before we create soul scars, before we create a soul scar within ourselves, because sometimes the actions that we create in our lives and the choices, we're the ones who are the ones that reap the most difficulty from those words or from those actions. You know, you speak out and you receive what you speak. What you sow, that's what you're going to reap. What you put out into the universe, you're going to get that back. As soon as you learn that, as soon as you practice it the way that you want it to be, the better off you're going to be. So remember, you cannot use the backspace button in life. Consider before you act. That's the main thing. I just wanted to get that out to you. I love you that you listened, and thank you so very much. I just want to tell you from every part of my heart, I adore you. I adore that you listen to me. That in itself is an honor. Even if you don't take my advice, I adore you. And even if we've had friction, because we all do, I adore you. I think that we should, really, really consider our actions and forgive for our own purposes, for our own reasons. We can't, because of our boundaries, always let people back into our lives, can we? But we can forgive, and that forgiveness helps us within, and it helps us heal wounds. It helps also energetically. The forgiveness goes out and it helps the other person or people. So let's remember to do that. Number one, first and foremost, to forgive when we have done something and we can't use the backspace button to erase it. So anyway, I just want to tell you that I'm loving you from here. Something that I always love to say, and God bless you. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Listen to this a couple of times. Meditate on it. Meditate on all the things and moments. Think back just for a bit. Don't live in the past, live in the now. But for the sake of now, for the sake of this lesson, think back and think of what you might have done different that would have changed your life completely. And learn from those mistakes. Remember, they are mistakes, and we just need to take them over. So when we create a movie and we do take one, take two, we make a mistake and we just take it over. Make sure that you meditate on it and you learn from the lesson so that you don't have to have 50, 100 takes, okay? I know that there's no such thing as 50, 100, okay? 50,000. See, I have to stop and think before something comes out of my mouth because you never know. But that was just a blooper. I could probably edit it out, but I'm not going to. So once again, God bless you. I am so loving you here. Have a good rest of the day. Take care, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.